Hello, and thank you for your emails. I've had an email asking me about how you would use code from a previously written game. It's a good idea to do, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword in that when you're just lifting a piece of code from one game you've already written into another, sometimes it can translate straight across. For example, the timer, that's a great one to copy across. Other times you will need to make sure that you change the variable names and match them across. Sometimes it's easier to recode. I'm going to do two today. Then I'm going to do the intro screen, and I'm going to do the that we did last time. I'm going to do the timer. So what I've done in readiness for this question was I've got the last time's Mario Chase screen. I've renamed it to Shooter JPEG. So that's ready to go. So I've got an image ready. The reason I've renamed it will become clear in a few moments. And so the next thing to do is open up a previously written game. So I'm going to open it, and it's on the C Drive and Chase game. That's the game I made in the first set of series of lessons. So I'll open it, and you'll see that it opens up underneath, and it opens there. And when I click to the main here, it opens there. So you've got the two games. And so going to the main game that I'm working on today, I'll need to load my image in. So load image, I'm going to call it 10 to keep it away from last time's lessons. So it's going to be called shooter.jpg, and let's just put a gap there to distinguish sounds and images. So I've loaded that in. Now this is going to be an intro screen. So the intro screen doesn't run within the main game loop. It'll need to run before the game loop, so that when we end the intro screen, it then fires up the main loop to start the game. So I need to load the image into the main part, but because this is all going to run within its own intro subroutine, I don't need to declare a variable here. And likewise, I don't need to create a sprite, because I'll need to do that in the subroutine as well. And I'm not going to declare a sprite position, because I'd only need to declare X and Y positions if I want to place the background image on a particular point on the screen. If you don't use this command, it'll start it at 0, 0. And as it's an 8x600 screen, an 8x600 JPEG, it'll spread out from point 0, 0, which is exactly what I want. And so now that I've done that, I can just lift the piece of code I want. So let's go to the Chase game, and I need to find the code we did for, there was the timer. I need to find the code I did for the game intro, there it is. So I copy this code out, but things will be different in it. The main code will be the same, but there will be differences in variables and image names. So I've copied that in. Game intro can stay. That'll need to change. So that's why I renamed the image earlier. So it's going to be called shooter equals 10. And then I've got shooter equals 10. So not shooter comma 10. So that's my create sprite done. So that's my variable, and there's my create sprite. This can stay the same. Press the space bar to begin. And do you remember the lesson where if I don't have this, if I don't delete the sprite, then the image won't clear? So I need to put shooter into there. So I just need to say, when they press the space bar, synchronize the screen, delete the sprite. And that's ready to go. I just need to make sure that I call this in my main, before my main loop. So I'll put in rem intro go sub, and it'll be go sub game intro. Now that code should run. Let's try it. Run. It's compiled. Let's start it. And it's worked. So I just press the space bar and now my game starts. And the principle now would be identical. If you wanted to do the game over screen, it's exactly the same as I've just shown you there, except the game over screen would need to run, the Go Sub would run inside this. But I've shown you that in the previous lesson. Now let's look at the timer. So I need to declare the variable for timer. So time, I use this, I always use this one, and use the code. So that's a mistake there. Time equals, time hash equals timer. So now let's look for my timer within this. And there it is, the game timer. This piece of code will never change really if you use the same variable names. Go here, type in, and I want this to run within the main loop. So and game timer, and yeah, time minus current time. That should work. So we would then need to copy out the print screen to make it appear, the countdown show on the screen, the print command. So we might as well lift that while we're there. Let's have a look at lives. Where was the timer print command? Ah, there it was, to print time minus current time. So it was already there. So now all I need to do is call the Go Sub in the main game. So if we'd done a Go Sub end, that's what it would be. End screen, Go Sub, game timer, compile it, run it. So now I'm left with press spacebar to begin, and you can see the counter is counting up. So didn't work as I would have liked. So let's have a look what went wrong. So I think I know where we've gone wrong. So print time minus current time. I think we've left the variable out from somewhere. Current time equals timer. Current time equals timer. I think if we go up to the top here, we've got time. We've left out the time variable. So this is a great example of sometimes copying it in can cause a mistake, but we'll move that into there, and now we should have more luck. And it's now counting down from 60 seconds as we wanted. So there's a good example of where it can go a bit wrong. You need to make sure when you're copying it, you do copy everything across. But if you understand your code, as I did there, you can very quickly get to grips and find where the error is. So I hope copying that Go Sub routines across has helped you. And as always, email me any queries and I'll be happy to make a video on it. Thank you very much.